You've said a couple of things I'm dying to dig into.
Okay.
And I knew this about you anyway, but you made it very easy to take you there. You've mentioned the word 2 or 3 times now, community.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that about you, and every time I hear, and I'm hearing new pieces of the story, which is really great for me. But it's clear to me that you're just driven, like you hydrate your nervous system by the pour into others.
100%.
And this is a place that can truly embody that. And I know what I've witnessed since this became Hey is exactly what you were meant to do. You're building it now, and it's so warming to me to see. This episode of Roots to Fruits is produced and distributed by Be Connected, a Midwest social media and digital growth agency. All right, here we go. Another episode of Roots to Fruits podcast. I am your host, Kelly Williams, and I have a special one for you today. We are live at a yoga studio on the outside northeast side of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm joined with Emily Dressler. Emily is an inspiring entrepreneur who seamlessly blended her passion for yoga with her expertise in marketing to create a thriving business. She is a founder of Happily Ever Yoga, a power-based yoga studio built on community, movement, and music. Before launching her own studio, Emily spent over a decade as a marketing executive, leading operations and automation strategies for major companies like Cisco, Health Carousel, and Veritiv, a company that I know from the packaging industry. With a deep understanding of branding, customer engagement, and business growth, she leveraged her corporate experience to build Hey. Hey Yoga is more than just a studio. It's a space for connection, balance, and transformation. As a business owner, yoga instructor, and mother of 3, Emily understands the challenges of balancing work, wellness, and family life. Today, she's here to share her journey from marketing executive to entrepreneur, the lessons she's learned along the way, and how she's using her expertise to create an unforgettable yoga experience. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you. So honored to be here. Thanks, Kelly.
Been wanting to have this podcast with you for a while because
Yes.
Yoga is an important part of both of our lives. So we'll weave that in. Let's just start with your story.
All right. So all the way back to the beginning of yoga, or?
Yeah. I want to
Okay.
know, what was that moment
Okay.
that yoga clicked?
Yeah.
And why? And what led you to yoga before
Yeah.
that click?
So I was actually transferred to Denver, Colorado, and probably about 15 or so years ago, I started practicing yoga, and that's how I was meeting new friends. And I will be honest, it was all about the physical practice at that time. It was yoga sculpt, it was power yoga, it was getting into a handstand. And then I started to realize there's so much more than just the asanas and the physical practice. I was using the yoga throughout my career, obviously taking a deep breath before a presentation. There were a lot of elements that I was slowly starting to uncover, but I still didn't quite understand the power of yoga. Fast forward to having each kid, the different stages of my life, yoga kept coming back into it. It kept evolving. And even before we had kids, Ben and I, relationship actually started in yoga. I traveled a
You
lot
actually met in yoga?
Well, we didn't actually meet in yoga, I should say. Let me clarify. He followed me to yoga. So I would travel a lot for business. I was all over the world globally. And he'd be like, hey, I really want to hang out with you. And I was like, well, cool, come to yoga. And sure enough, he started falling in love with yoga. And that's when my practice was actually getting a lot deeper too. It wasn't just about the power yoga anymore. We were starting to go to the restore classes and like learning a little bit more about what yoga meant. So when we were getting married, I was like, hey, maybe we just ask my dad to like help us open a yoga studio. And he's like, what, are you embarrassed? You don't want to have a wedding? And I was like, no, I want to have a wedding, but I really want a studio. So we kept yoga in our practice. Then we decided to move back home. We were going to transfer actually to Dallas, but long story short, I stayed with the same company and started working remote. We looked all around Cincinnati, and while the studios were great, it wasn't what we were looking for. So we were looking to open our own. And then we found out we were pregnant with Eloise, our oldest. We're like, okay, maybe this isn't the right time. And then fast forward, we started teaching at a studio, which happened to be 2 doors down from the studio that a lot of us met at. So it was just weird how the full circle comes. And so pregnant with Savina, we're like, oh, we want to do, I always say that I felt like it was like inspiring my business. I always wanted to have my own something, but every time I was pregnant, I was like, yoga studio, like something just kept coming,
kept drawing you
yes,
to
it just
yoga.
kept drawing me to yoga. And I think it's obviously wasn't just the physical practice. It was the mental. There were so many pieces that I needed at those stages in life, and the creativity. I've heard a lot about that with pregnancy and stuff. Like the creativity was there. So we bought this big mobile trailer. I don't know if you remember it, but it was like, hey, on the way.
I heard about it.
Yeah. And COVID happened. So sadly.
So you have a mobile yoga
Yes.
truck.
We ended up selling it, but yes, it's this giant, you'll have to ask Ben. It was huge. I mean, very big. We're going to open it up. So like we'd go to like businesses, schools, festivals, and you could or meditations, we could close it up and you could go in and it would be more like private, and we could do even private sessions in there. But with the whole 6 feet thing, we're like, nobody's going to go inside of
Right.
this. And then beyond that, even the outdoor things, a lot of the festivals or things shifted. So we decided to sell the trailer, but it was very fun.
So did you have to build this trailer?
We had it custom made actually. And I feel like things always happen for a reason. We hadn't seen Ben's grandpa for a while, and right before, so we purchased it in Atlanta, Georgia. So Ben and his dad went to go pick up this trailer that we had custom made to suit our yoga studio. And sure enough, that was the last time we saw, or I didn't actually get to go, but the last time Ben and his dad got to see his grandpa, and both him and his wife passed from COVID. So it's just interesting how stories all weave together and connect.
And that's why I wanted to have your story
Yeah.
on this show, because it is a very interesting story. Like you kept being reminded, not yet.
Correct.
Stay open.
Yes.
Right?
But it kept coming back. Like, it's like, I always tell people I felt like I needed to have my 3 kids, or I needed to have these moments, like connecting Ben with his dad or grandpa. There were just a lot of cool things. So that was that. And then we also had a studio in our basement. So our neighbors would come over, friends, family. It was really awesome and fun. But at some point we were like, okay, we have 2 kids. Where are we going to put the toys? We like kept that going for a while.
Toy room yoga.
Yeah. So anyways, it's slowly like the toys would come in. We'd have to get them out to do the classes. And so a lot of our Hey in the Basement friends started coming to the studio. We all taught together so it was really cool. So it was introducing those people to a larger community. So it all happens for a reason. So that was Savina. And then fast forward, I get pregnant again. We're all teaching at that studio together. I'm like, I love this place, but I've always wanted something more. Like I want our space, and I want a really big community where people feel really connected, and it's more than just the physical practice. There's so many elements to it. And that's when we decided to open a small studio with our friend. He has a CrossFit gym, and we're like, this is a safe way to keep my career. I was always afraid to step away. But also I can keep doing my passion. So I can teach yoga in the morning. I'm still building this business, on the side. It was a lot of fun. We met a lot of really cool people. But so that
It's
was
hard.
Yes.
It's really hard.
It is hard. You're a dad. How do you manage it?
I get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I only have one speed. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just, my mind never stops.
Same.
And whatever that object is that I'm studying, it just always studies
It's
it.
your passion. It always comes back around. I feel like the
Yep.
connectedness that we
The
talked about.
synchronicity, the
Correct.
patterns
Yes.
constantly come
Yeah.
back.
So that was Jack. So Jack was our third child and our last. But we were on spring break, and my uncle, who is a very successful entrepreneur in Florida, came down. He lives in Florida. So we met at the resort we're at. I was like, Uncle Randy, I don't think I can do the corporate world anymore. Like, I've learned so much. It's amazing, but I want to do my own thing. I want to help people. Like, I want to actually see me helping people on a daily basis instead of like assuming, or through big businesses, it doesn't feel as intimate, or I feel like there was more to it. And my mom was a counselor and she helped so many people. I was like, I want to be like her. I want to help people. My dad's always the kindest person, just giving. And like, how can I give more? So I said that to my uncle, and he's like, oh, I think it will happen sooner than you think. And I kind of like smiled like, no, maybe you're right. Then you call me, like literally,
I
get
remember.
home from vacation, and you call me and you're like, hey, do you still want like a real yoga studio? Do you want more? Or do you have too much on your plate? I know you're a mom. Like, that was amazing. So
Yeah, because this wonderful place we're at right now was
Yeah.
just a wonderful opportunity to not only take the risk, but
yeah,
I think an easier pathway to the risk,
Correct.
right? Because it costs a lot of money to build these studios.
So
It costs a
much.
lot of money to lease the building.
and it costs a lot of money to quit your corporate job.
Right. So
But
this
yeah.
was kind of just a great situation. And you obviously know what happened in our old city. So we needed a new place. And there's just this whole community of fear and worry that this special place that I wouldn't say taken for granted, but it grown so connected to.
It was part of your everyday life
was
that
part
you
of your
can't
life.
imagine like life without it.
And it was all in the balance of, is it going to be here anymore?
Yeah.
And when I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who is heartfelt of emerald green, she's
Yes,
just
the
a
best.
lovely, lovely human being, but she wasn't interested at a point in her life. I'm like, what about Ben and Emily? Like, oh, they got too much on their plate. And I probably wouldn't have called had we not realized that our kids were in the same.
Because you saw,
I saw
you saw
you
me
dropping
walking
off
out with Sabina.
with Sabina.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'm calling her, and my call just happened to be synchronicity.
And I think I was
at the
at
time.
lunch or something, or maybe on the way to work. We had just run into each other. And I thought, timing wise, I was like, wow, like, is this real? Did he really just ask this? I'm like, this has to be a sign. You know, like, because I had been dabbling with this idea we wanted to open a studio for over a decade. I mean, so it wasn't just like.
And the name Hey
Yeah.
has its own story
Yeah.
and life. It's not a newbie.
No.
That name's been around for a while.
We literally trademarked it well over a decade ago. And that was when we were first starting, where we thought we were going to start our first studio. That never happened. So we kept paying for things. I think there was one point where we abandoned some things and we're like, oh shoot, we probably need to go back in case we ever circle back. And then we kind of just stuck with it. And
it's a great name.
Thank you.
I love it because, hey.
Yeah.
Because we were going to do a broga, a men's class for, men my age. I feel like we all know we need yoga, but we're intimidated. We're afraid to take that, afraid we'll be embarrassed or whatever. It's like, hey, man,
you've got this.
Get in here. Let's just.
And that's why we want it, because it can go across the board. And we can use it to like, hey yoga, now hey Pilates. We've expanded. So it can just kind of go with whatever it's catchy, but it also works like masculine, and it works in all different ways. I feel like
it's like, hey.
Yeah. Hey, get your attention. Hey, you need to do this.
It's a way to get your attention.
Yeah, we went back and forth a lot, and I wanted something simple. That's what Ben and I, and being in marketing too, we're like, what's something that is simple, but it will capture people's attention, or if they aren't sure what it means, they're curious enough to ask. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's how it became. So, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, so how long have we been here now?
So we've been here. So that's also part of our story. I always think about, like, when we talk about some of our, we can go off on a little tangents and stuff, but I think about like alignment and synchronicity, or just different things that you and I have talked about. So not only did you call me right when we were coming back from spring break, when I was like really getting to the point where I was feeling like I need to make this move, but I'm hesitant to. Shortly after that, we found out that my sister was sick. And she was probably one of the biggest people that kept telling me, hey, what are you doing? Like, you are teaching yoga at 5:15 in the morning. You're going to the office. You're coming home. You're building your business. You're teaching at night. And you're going to burn yourself out. And your kids are your number one. And I'm like, absolutely they are. Like, of course they know that, right? But so at that point, I was like, okay, she's sick. Maybe I'm not just trying to step away from corporate for my like family of 5. Like, I always was thinking it's like for my kids and our family. And then I was traveling a lot over the years, and it's just a lot for a mom. And
traveling on top of it.
It is. Yeah, it's a lot. So anyways, I was like, okay, I'm going to help my sister go through treatment. I'll help my parents. And that's what my purpose is. I was like all coming together. Well, fast forward, it was really quick. Just like a few weeks, she started treatment, and then sadly she passed away. And it always I go back to that alignment. It's like, I feel like I had to have those babies, but it kept popping back up. But I think there was a bigger story and a bigger timeline than I even knew about. And sure enough, my last day at corporate, I'm sitting there like this, like with my boss, handing stuff over. And he's like, you sure you don't want to extend your deadline? Like, we can work with you, or, do you want to work a little bit longer? And something in my gut was like, I don't know, maybe we should just wrap it up, but maybe. And then I get a text literally that was like, rush to the ER, your sister's in kidney failure. And my heart, like, I just like was like, I don't know what to do. And I like showed him the text. Sorry, this is me. And he was like, you need to go. So I didn't even wrap up my last day at my corporate job. There was no like celebrating that. And I loved my job. Like, don't think that I was trying to get out of corporate because I like didn't like it, or I traveled all over the world. I got to go to really cool places. I met amazing people,
and built teams.
And little did I know that I was learning these skills and tools. I always say that, like, I thought I was like, oh, I could be the next, CMO or CEO. But little did I know I was doing it from my business instead of just climbing the corporate ladder or whatever my goals were at that time in life. But
Yep.
I just always go back to that timeline of like, okay, this might be a sign that my sister is saying you're on the right path. Like, it was the worst weekend of my entire life, but I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm stepping away. I'm opening, not, it wasn't just about opening my own business or an own studio. It's creating this space, this community to help people be better for themselves, because you show up better for those that you love. You know, like my kids even say, Mom, you need to go to yoga. Like, they can tell at what point that I'm getting a little anxious or frustrated.
My wife says I get yissy.
Yes. See, exactly. So like, we all need it. And that was the whole point, is like, not just not having my own business. Like, yes, I've always wanted to do that, but it was creating that space, that community. And my sister's last 2 wishes literally were, also, she was always giving. She's literally knew she was going to pass away. And she's like, obviously watch over my kids. And then 2, help moms and parents, you know, get the care they need, whether that's like the doctors or going to yoga or doing things for themselves, because they're always putting everybody else first. And a lot of times people think it's selfish, or will look at it, or you feel guilty. Like, I used to feel guilty. Like, I know I need to go to the gym, but I'm not going to see my baby in the morning if I go to the gym, or I'll only see them for 2 minutes instead of like 30 minutes where we can snuggle. And sometimes it was like, no, but if you do that, it's not like you have to do it every day, right? But if you're doing that, you're actually showing them that like taking care of yourself is important, that you're managing your nervous system, you're getting into a better space for them.
That's
so
right.
You show up better for them, right?
Yes. You've said a couple of things I'm dying to dig into.
Okay.
And I knew this about you anyway, but you made it very easy to take you there. You've mentioned the word 2 or 3 times now, community.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that about you. And every time I hear, and I'm hearing new pieces of the story, which is really great for me. But it's clear to me that you're just driven, like you hydrate your nervous system by the pour into others.
100%.
And this is a place that can truly embody that. And I know what I've witnessed since this became Hey is exactly what you were meant to do. You're building it now. And it's so warming to me to see the range that we'll get into later. But you said something else, nervous system.
Mhm.
And I think that is very, very important, because no matter how hectic things get, there's a very important thing that we all need to just remind ourselves, right?
Mhm.
Is no matter how crazy and incoherent it gets out there, we
Yes.
control our coherence here.
Mhm.
And that regulated nervous system is the best gift you can give your children, your friends, your families, just to be regulated, which means don't let shit get to you.
Mhm.
You know, it's life. And this is why people stay in yoga. They go to
Yes.
yoga for the physical back pain, or they need the sweat, or they want the challenge, but they stay in yoga for very different reasons
Yes.
than what got them there.
I agree. And when you said that, it always makes me think of my dad always said, there's nothing to worry about until there's something to worry about. And that always resonated with me, because my mind is one, like you talk about the 1,000,000 miles per minute, like it's always going. It doesn't stop. And sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it would be a challenging thing for me, because I would spin on like a what if scenario, or what, you know, or
And then it
trying to
starts to
fix
affect
something.
your presence.
Correct. And then
Yes.
you're not present. And then, so I don't want to teach my kids that. I don't want them to see, or if I am doing that, help that if I see patterns in them, like, hey, I used to feel like this. Here's things that I do, or sometimes I still do. And when I catch myself, because I have been practicing yoga is not just the physical practice. It's the way we respond to things. Do we pause? Do we take a breath? So you'll see little Jack, like, take a deep breath. You know, it's just so cute. Like, they're picking up on those things that we're trying to teach, and we're still working on. I'm working on it every day. And it doesn't mean you have to be on your mat every day. That's one thing too, that I think sometimes people think, yes, it's great if you can move your body every day, but it's not just the physical piece. There's very much all the other elements of like the way you respond, the way you treat others, the way you react, you know.
Yep. But you know, I feel like we don't spend enough time, because I travel to yoga studios whenever I'm traveling, and it's just very rare to find one that embodies all elements of yoga.
Yeah.
Because your physical body, there's 3 bodies. You've heard me say this.
Yes.
There's 3 bodies.
Mm-hmm.
The physical body, which is your skeleton, your muscles, your tissue, your veins, organs, that's your physical matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that electrical body, which is breath and the nervous system. It's those electrical signals that travel through that 70% of your body is salt water,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's how you communicate. But it's also Now, the third body is the somatic body, which
Right.
is the fascia that wraps all of us underneath our skin. That silvery web is so conductive. It communicates up and down the body. And that's when you feel a room before any thought enters your mind, right? It's
Mhm.
that I call it the antenna. Yoga helps get your antenna back to where now you're truly emitting a signal that others can pick up and you're reading theirs because
Yes.
you're and that's why yoga is not a sport. It's a practice.
A practice.
It's
Yes.
always a practice
Always a practice. Yes.
because we need daily practice.
We do. We do. We're always practicing. And that people always ask, like, what's your favorite show or what is your favorite book series? And I was the weirdo, like, oh, I like self-help. And they're like all looking like, oh, come on. I'm like, that's what I listen to. Or that I'm always trying to either better myself or learn more to help the business, the community. And when I say the business, I mean like, what's the next yoga certification? What I'm always trying to bring new things into the studio because I just want everybody to thrive and succeed and to live life. Like, sadly, I learned I know a lot of people have sadly felt this way too, but like my sister was only 40 years old. 40. That is just, and there's so many other people that have had to experience earlier, like I can't even imagine. I don't even want to think about it. But I did learn way too soon that life is actually way too short. And you just don't know if you're promised tomorrow. Not to sound negative or morbid, but like you've got to live life to the fullest. And if something isn't working, like let's work through that or let's try something instead of just getting stuck in a pattern that doesn't feel right. Because living life to the fullest is just so important. And it means different for everybody.
And corporate America challenges that
It does.
on a daily basis. So it's not like we start to disconnect from the world, but I think those of us that over our practice and time on earth, we start to raise that mass into energy up here. That's when you start to realize that you're kind of allergic to those conditions.
Yeah, I will say, and again, my sister and others would call out, I would be at family dinners or even on vacation and I'm like, oh, my CEO is calling or my CPO is calling. And they're like, okay. And Ben would be like, you don't get paid enough to answer the phone call, but I would go answer it because I was a good employee, whatever that means. But I always put like my heart into everything. And I started to notice, so I quit my corporate job a little over a year and a half ago, basically the age of hay here. And I was telling my mom recently, I was like, Mom, my heart is not racing in the morning anymore. Like I literally, my heart would just pound because I had like so many things I needed to do. And I was always.
You're already at the office.
Correct.
And you haven't even left the house.
Exactly. And it was, and again, I've learned so much, but I started to notice, especially once my sister was sick and I was really getting to the end of like seeing what real life can bring you. I would be sitting in meetings. I'm like, this just isn't important, and it was really hard for me to be in that space. And that thankfully though, made it easier for me to disconnect. I still have all the same passions. Like actually a lot of my skill set, I was in marketing, operations, automation, all of that translates really nicely here to owning a business. So I'm so grateful for all that experiences, but I don't have the racing heart that I had every day because I wanted to make sure I was performing, not for me, but like for the company, right? Like if I mess something up, it impacts so many other things. So now if I mess something up, it's my family.
Right.
Which that obviously is really important, but it just like the repercussions are different. I always say like, I would have bosses that were like, put it out there and fail fast, but there were some places that said that, but then actually like it wasn't okay. You know what I mean? So now I'm like, okay, if I put something out there and I fail, like it's okay because you are all going to support us. Like nobody's going to be like, well, that was a bad idea or it was a bad idea. We laugh about it and then we move on.
But for something like this, I mean, this is in a lot of ways, you're gambling the family on a vision
that is true.
or on a belief. Do you feel like that 10 years made a big difference in where you are now versus had you pulled it off in the beginning?
Okay. Yeah. So really good point. I think it would be really different. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I would still have evolved as a mom, but it probably would have been more about the physical practice for a longer time, to be honest.
Because I introduced you as a power-based studio, but it's
evolved.
Definitely that it has evolved tremendously. And
in the last year, that I would say.
And it's so exciting.
It's so exciting.
I love it.
I love it. We get great feedback. I mean, people are loving.
So let's go through some of the wonderful things that we do here.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about like classes? Do you want me to?
Yeah, like and
Okay.
I'll riff on any of the
Yeah,
ones that
add in where you want to. Like, you're part of the community.
because we're not going to do a tour of the studio.
Yeah, I wish we could.
Trust
That'd be
me,
fun.
You would see everything we're about.
So yeah, so we have what we call our hot studio. Yet we do more than just hot classes in there, and it's candlelit. It's dim lighting. We did not want mirrors in that room. We do have mirrors in our Pilates reformer room. I'll get to that in a second. But for the yoga element, I found that even me or others, I would observe them and they were watching themselves, I feel like, more from a physical space.
Yeah.
Like, do I look strong? Is my posture right?
Yeah.
Which is important, but we have really skilled professional yoga instructors like Kelly. They went through hours and hours and hours of training and continue to get trained in different things to help people so they're not out of alignment, both verbally and then, if comfortable, physically. So we don't need you to worry, am I in alignment? My hope is that our teachers are, watching and walking around the room. They're visually able to see and then verbally get people into the right spot. So instead of being like, am I in the right alignment? Oh my gosh, the person next to me is so strong, or, starting to compare themselves, or even it's like, hey, I'm really strong. It's like, but is that what you're worried about in this moment?
Or I've gained a few pounds.
Correct. It is this tank top needs to look better on me. And yeah.
It's an invitation to spiral in bad places.
And it can be really good if you're practicing on something new. Don't get me wrong, but you can.
Workshops.
Exactly.
Right?
So
it's good to see.
And that's another when you ask what we offer. So like the whole slew of classes, we also do workshops for those reasons. So if someone wants to get in a handstand, sure, our teachers might have that as a peak posture in certain classes, like our more intermediate to advanced. But we really want you to actually take the time to like step back and then see where you're at so you can safely, so you're not just going in there and like throwing up a handstand and then falling and getting hurt. So workshops, and then throughout, and I really want to do more of this 4-wave cycle training too. I've been reading a lot about, getting really inspired by some of the stuff for our Hay method. Mm-hmm. But you've seen, or you guys haven't seen yet, but some of you that are listening may have seen, we've really evolved our offerings too. So we have, yes, power yoga, we have sculpt, so you can use weights, we have mat Pilates, but we have like slow flow or more flows, restore, yin and restore. So we're hitting the nervous system a little bit deeper, like gentle yoga. You're going to stretch more. You're going to be more on your mat. You're really thinking about breath, mindfulness. You're coming into the room as thoughts arise. You use your breath to come back into the space. So really challenging yourself. I mean, even in the physical power practices, you're still doing this, but this is to complement those days that you really need more of like a reset instead of just
like a nervous system reset.
Because if you're just going hard all the time, the cortisol, like there's so many elements.
You never relax.
Yes, you never relax. And so, and your body's always tight or it's sore. It's like, well, you need to undo that. So the fascia, there's all these different things. You don't want to get like too tightened up or your web is like stuck. So
it gets dehydrated and tight and it doesn't cleanly signal.
Yes. Yeah. So we offer all that. And then sound has been a really huge addition. Reiki, congrats. Kelly is now able to practice Reiki. So there's just so many things that have really become powerful for this full wave or this full circle of yoga. So it's not just every day you're doing power. You're giving yourself time to reset.
And if you've never been in a sound journey or a sound bath, highly encourage it. It's got bowls and gongs and flutes and handpans, and you're just in such a melodic vibrational, it's amazing. You're floating. It's such an amazing, and you come out of it, you're not tired. I remember the first one I did, I had to drive 45 minutes to it, and the whole time like, oh man, it's late, I'm gonna come back. I've never felt more alive.
Yeah.
I wasn't I was just alive.
Still sleep well.
I slept great.
And energized isn't the right word. I mean more like,
I was just I was alert and awake, and I just felt amazing.
Yes.
So if
you definitely need to try one. I tell you, and it might take some people. I say this with yoga in general. You might need to go a couple times, especially even just an asana practice, like more of like the flows of the power. Because if you don't know the verbiage, sometimes people get intimidated. Like, oh, what is a warrior two? And even though we cue to get you there, sometimes when you're new to something, you're not hearing the cues. Yeah. So I always say, like, I'll never forget.
Because you're in your head.
Correct. And you're in your head. Do I look okay? Am I doing this right? And I'll never forget the first class I went to, maybe not like the first, but when I was transferred to Denver, Colorado, like 15 or whatever years ago it was at this point, I went to a class with my friend and they were doing lion's breath. And I was like, what is this? I was like, what did you bring me to?
I remember the first time I heard it, I'm like, I don't know what that is.
And now I'm like obsessed with yoga. I'm obsessed with breath. I'm obsessed with all the things. And I can't forget Pilates because I have historical low back issues. It runs in my family, grandpa, aunts, dad, cousins. Like, it's just between the L3, L5, and it's like this shooting nerve pain, and it comes and goes. Since 6th grade was the first time it happened to me. And no matter how much I work my core after 3 kids, it, caused a little bit of a setback. That's okay. They're worth it. But it's really important. And I feel like Pilates complements our yoga practice so well, getting into those small muscle movements, your slow, your control, you're really building that core strength. You'll find yourself get longer. I mean, I know you do in yoga
I like it's somewhere between power and yin, right?
It's just,
You're holding really good tension on that connective tissue, which we never really work. We never lubricate those parts of our muscles.
And there's the little muscles, like we'll do sideline series and it's like the lightest spring. So I don't know how familiar you all are with Pilates, but you have springs that basically you adjust throughout the class. And sometimes we'll be like 1 blue, which is the absolute lightest. And people are like, I'm strong. 1 blue will kill you. So it's just funny because it's not always lighter, the easier, because you're really challenging yourself slow with control to come back. So Pilates has been such a positive addition to the yoga studio.
And it's always overbooked. There's always a waiting list because we only have
I know
5.
you have to get more. We're like, we need more, and then we need more classes. So we're on it. We're sending out a survey today actually to try to get more feedback on like times of days, different styles. Do you like the jump board? Do you like more of a reset?
It's a good problem because everybody loves everything. They want more of it, all of it, from restorative and yin to
every day.
And we have aerial in the same room. So.
Aerial's so fun. Core strength, upper body, nice and challenging. We've also done, that was one of the coolest things we ever did, was the sound bath in the silks. So we lowered the silks all the way down, and it was very restorative. I was snoring. Tasha had to come keep kicking my silk because I was like out of it because it was so relaxing. It was magical. We had special lights. The room was dim. It was really cool. Circling all the way back though to Pilates, that's where our aerial room is with the silk. So we kind of, it's kind of cool to see especially through the weekend, like the rooms like snap into something different. It's really cool. But we do have a couple mirrors on one wall in the Pilates reformer room, precision and posture, and we're on a machine, right? We have to be really safe. So we chose to be boutique style. So we have limited reformers. We want you to feel like you're basically in a private session.
Yep.
And the point is you are on a machine. And there are safety concerns. It's not likely you'll get hurt, but if you were standing on it and you don't step off right or things like that. So
I've moved them. I know.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way, for being the strong man that can move them because I can't. So basically we have that wall of mirrors so you can do a quick check-in, but also so the instructor gets a full view of the room to really manage the safety of the space.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And then you have a room that's got like a massage table. So occasionally we have pop-up workshops.
Yes.
And also privates, which now I offer privates, which would be like a combination of restorative, yin, Reiki, like a full chakra Reiki session, whatever your nervous system needs. We'll tailor things for
and
you.
We love that these private sessions we're doing a lot more of because there are people, and sometimes it's someone brand new that's afraid to try a group class, right? We also have people that are working on something specific and they want to do that. And then especially with like sound or other nervous system things, the great full rooms have a whole nother energy, but sometimes people really just want that experience that's like catered towards like their needs. And it could be singular, it could be small group. We've had a couple mats in the wellness flex room. And then we actually do privates for reformer too, either single or duo. And it could be like one gentleman is working on his golf swing. And so we have really specific workouts tied to, or sessions tied to that. We have prenatal, postnatal. We have people that are coming back from an injury. So their experience
and
is
children's
different.
yoga.
And children's yoga. We kind of do it all. So they're like pop-up style and kids love it.
But it's community.
It's community.
You've truly embodied community here and it shows. And the new faces we see on a regular basis.
So cool to see, right?
Booked almost 2,000 spots last month,
and
right?
It's
such a great place to see.
And you're all making it happen. I mean, I'm so grateful. And I believe, like, back to the kids, well, I always say, without it being like, we have yoga for everybody. We really do. We have yoga for everybody and everybody. So
trauma sensitive too.
Yes. And we do grief. I got actually certified in grief yoga. The gentleman that did the training, Paul Dennison, is amazing. And it was so impactful for me. Like, I attended as wanting something to help my family and myself. And I was like, I need to do this for other people. This is such a gift because emotions need motion. And sometimes a regular yoga class, yes, you can get it. You might come out and people will have emotional reactions, which is good. And it could happen in a sound bath. It could happen. But in this grief yoga, there's this whole process where you're cycling through different things and like you're moving to get the emotions out and just acknowledging them, not avoiding them, but you're experiencing them. It's just powerful. So highly recommend if you're going through any kind of grief, and it doesn't have to be the loss of a person. I always tell people that.
Well, that's the thing. Grief builds up in your system because corporate America says, be tough, work through it, perform. We're being reverberant or demonstrating empathy could be a liability, right? So we carry all that residual grief, and somehow you got to compost that out of your system.
Yes.
This is the place you go to do that.
So funny you say that. And I actually had a leader one time say he doesn't believe that an empath can be a good leader. And I normally wouldn't bring this up on a podcast, but because you brought that up, I just felt like it really like struck me. And I was like, I don't believe that's true. And that's why I wanted my own space, because I can lead, you can lead, we can all lead as empaths. I feel like there's a path for everybody.
It's coherence.
Yeah.
Right. So you started, hey, here, kind of like spring break was that trigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
My book was spring break.
Yeah.
Last year, I started this book. It's embodied in it, but I put a pause for 10 years.
Yeah. 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah. Like,
and when I was practicing yoga, I went for the back. Like I remember being 7 years old and feeling that part of and as I got older, lifting weights all the time, it got worse and worse. So I went to yoga for that, and then found lots about my body that I learned from that. But they kept asking me, when are you going to do teacher training? And I joke, I say, when I hit 1,000 classes. Well, I hit that and I didn't, but it was kind of COVID. COVID forced the world to slow down. And I'm like, you know what, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now. But I never had a strong opinion that, am I doing this because I want to teach? I still sometimes feel out of place teaching because I'm an older guy.
You're great at it. Oh, and you're not old. And I think guys bring a really great presence into the studio. It's like a different experience.
But I feel like what really drove me to it was what's embodied there. What's embodied in this podcast. It was such an important missing layer of my understanding of explaining the world and all of its incoherencies. It helped me realize that because yoga is ancient. To me, yoga isn't a practice. Yoga is observation of what a human being becomes when they're coherent. And coherent means their nervous system is authentic. And they connect to other authentic nervous systems. And pretty soon you build a lattice that's as strong as water. You can walk right into water. You dive off a cliff and do a belly smacker, it'll kill you. So water giveth, and water taketh away. And just to realize that we're all basically just a water molecule looking to connect. And it's that community drive, that coherence that we want is what I think's been driving you your whole life. And me as well.
I was going to say, and you as well. I always talk about when you basically become the 5 people that you're around the most. So if you feel like I don't know, there's so much, that could be a whole nother conversation, but it's true. Like you start to attract similar people or challenge yourself. You want to challenge yourself with people that are doing the next thing to bring like the value to the space. But at the retreat, for example, I had someone come up to me, the one that we just had in Tulum, Mexico, and it was sold out. There were 28 people, which is a lot they were almost like, oh, they told us we couldn't use some of the shallows. They're like, you're almost at like too much of a capacity. You're not going to fit everybody, but you can just use these bigger shallows. You won't be able to use the other ones. We're like, okay, that's okay. Like, we'll just deal with it. But someone came up and they're like, gosh, this group is just amazing. There's no drama. There's no, like, it's just everybody's happy. They're positive. They're building each other up. And I was like, well, yeah, like, and then they were like, and I think it's because we're attracting the same people, right?
Energy attracts energy.
Yeah. So it was just amazing. Like everybody asked how it was, and I'm like, magic. Like that's the word that just coming to my head. It was just this energy that was so powerful and positive and building each other up and practicing different things. Some people were new to journaling, new to meditating, new to sound baths, and it was just really cool experience. So
Something I want to circle back to restorative. I'm curious if you see the same thing. We're talking about the physical practice in mirrors and seeing yourself. It made me think of this. You know, when your physical body doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're holding it, you don't need a mirror to know you're holding.
Correct.
Because it takes 60 to 70% muscle activation to get into a pose.
Correct.
But when you're in a pose, your muscles and skeleton should be holding it. So if you're using a lot of muscle to hold a pose, that's actually the sign that something needs attention.
Yeah.
And if you start to just unlayer that over and over, and one of the clear signals versus, a warrior two that someone's holding is simply laying still.
Mm-hmm.
And restorative, and obviously I see it often in men.
Mm-hmm.
Men that come into a restorative class have a hard time just
tight.
laying still.
Yeah, and just
because their nervous systems are in sympathetic mode all the time. They never regulated down to parasympathetic.
It took me years. I was the person that was like, I'll never be able to sit through those classes. So I hear it from people all the time. I'm like, then you just need to practice, because I couldn't either. My mind would go, and now I'm the one that's snoring. It takes practice. But actually, on the mirrors thing, another thing that popped in my head, and when you're talking about all this and just the awareness in your body in all the styles of classes, I practice with my eyes closed in a power yoga class for probably 95%, even in balance and stuff. My eyes are closed. I'm trying to feel inward, my physical body, and the mental space. And I challenge myself to do that. And now I just do it. It first used to be a thing like, okay, get out of your head. And now I just naturally go into a state and my eyes are closed for most of my practice.
Even balance poses.
Yeah.
Because a balance pose with your eyes
closed. So I'll say like option to amplify, close your eyes. But but as a teacher, it's funny. I'm like, keep your eyes open, because I'll start to like get into that space. And I'm like, I need to keep my eyes open to watch my people. So
I feel like the best hot power class is where you don't remember the class. You're in a moving meditation the whole entire time.
I love mood. Yeah.
And every time I put so much energy into my playlists.
Yes, same.
Because that's
really a big thing
want
here.
The experience.
Yeah, right. I was looking back at things literally over 10 years ago that we had prepped and like started posting like for our Instagram or Facebook, and it was all about. It used to be yoga-driven music, mindfulness, and meditation. Like those were, and it's obviously evolved yoga, music, community, but it's always had community has always been an element, and music has always been something I'm extremely passionate about. So I think about the whole arc of a yoga class, and I really think about what type you'll hear. I always say like the yoga music. I use a lot of like true yoga music at the beginning, and you'll build the arc. You might hear something that's more popular today, or something that some studios might be like, that's in a yoga class, but like to build the energy, to get people to that peak posture, and then bring them back down. And Shavasana for me, it's so important. I think you always need a Shavasana. At least 3 to 5 minutes. Just allow yourself, you deserve that. And even if you don't know how to do it yet, the more you practice it, the more you will crave it, and the more powerful it becomes for your body.
The key point, you start to crave it because your body now recognizes that it needs it, and it gives it permission to have it.
Correct.
Because sometimes stillness, we feel guilty taking the time.
Correct.
And when people say, what should I do?
Or they get anxious in stillness.
My answer is always the same.
Uncomfortable.
Legs up the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Just go find a wall, put your legs up it, and do nothing.
No, I know. And then the do nothing, especially someone like you and I mean, I'm sure you struggle with that. I'm always on the go. So the do nothing, the Shavasana for me was really hard to learn. And that's why I'm trying to help my kids younger. Like they have the Moshi app, the kids meditation and things like that, like teaching them younger how to regulate their nervous system so they don't turn to things that aren't healthy in the future.
The biggest challenge we have, because we've got kids about the same age, is getting them into a place where they can be bored on purpose.
Yes. I was just talking to somebody about that. Yeah.
And it's really hard because they don't like to be bored. Mm-mm. And we just you've got plenty of things in this house.
We hear that all the time. I'm bored. I'm like, now, thankfully, they're super creative too, but we were just talking about that. The amount of times we hear today's society, I'm bored.
I'm Generation X. We grew up bored.
Yeah.
Boredom was our biggest obstacle to manage.
Yeah.
And we found ways to do it.
Yeah. And it's good. It's good for you. We just went on a trip that we were in a cabin, and they had now they did have games and everything like that, but like air hockey, pool, but we just wanted to like slow down and like, get rid of. And it's just, we had so much fun, and karaoke actually. So I don't know if that counts, but it was a blast. Jack was loving it. I'll have to show you videos.
Yeah,
but
we need to get our little boys together again soon.
But let's talk more about men's yoga. So Ben actually, he started, now I'm asking you questions. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
So Ben started, like I said, doing yoga to follow me. That sounds bad, but it was for himself too, but for us to get together. And he actually started his teacher training. It was when I was pregnant with Eloise, actually. He pulled out because he was like, oh, I'm going to be a first-time dad, and we were going to open the studio, and he was like feeling really called to do more, and also I wanted the support. And you even said that you didn't think, I didn't start teacher training to teach either, though, actually. It was the same kind of thing. Like, my studio was like, hey, have you ever thought about teaching? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I travel a lot for work. Like, that would never happen.
Yeah.
And then now I love it. I'm so passionate about it.
How long did you practice yoga before you went into the training?
Probably a couple years, maybe.
Okay. I think that's perfect. I've seen people literally fall in love with it. They go right into teacher training. I feel like
I know, now I'm trying. I need to go look at the timeline now that you say that. I'm actually, because I feel like, well, when I really practiced yoga, it was probably a quicker turnaround because I was at the studio all the time. But anyways, circling back so then Ben started his teacher training. He actually did his where you did. And then fast forward, he completed his actually right before COVID. So we went on the retreat, and it was like COVID was right after that. And so my parents came and watched the girls. It was really sweet. So we were there on the retreat, but we could still see our kids, kind of thing. And he didn't really like start teaching right away. Like, he would do a couple classes in our basement, more of like the yin restore. And he said the same things. Like, he feels like, as a man, sorry to speak for you, I wish he was here so he could speak to himself. But like, he was like, I'll never assist. There's certain things. Like, tell me a little bit more about how you feel being a teacher. I know you touched on a little bit, but
I have never, and I don't, I just, I've never, there's, I don't touch, I don't assist. Because and I've always just rested on, it's one of the yamas, non-stealing.
Right.
That I'm expressing to them that they're doing something wrong. So I kind of have always chalked it up as that's a good reason.
Okay.
But it was a reason.
That's a good perspective, though.
It was a good reason.
Yeah.
But then I get trained in Reiki, which is touch. And now I realize how important touch is. And I'm really glad that you brought this back up, because I've been thinking a lot about something that we were made aware of when we got trained together, which is, and we talked about other things like consciousness but with Reiki, science just came out in December, showing that it's medical proof that it works. And I find that so fascinating, because the reason we have scientific double-blind studies with placebos is because of the body's ability to heal itself. That's exactly why we have it. So to see Reiki, which is self-healing, in a scenario,
exciting.
It's exciting, because it.
And sound is the same. There's proof in science behind
for
vibrations,
mental health, and just grief management. It's absolutely, because we're all energy. It's all about energy. And you've been driven by that heart field your whole life. And when a heart field is trying to build connections and square coherence, and you're stuck every day in that environment, eventually, just like when your social circles kind of get filtered against that energy, which is why energy finds energy. So it's like you had this natural calling to build a nucleus of where that energy can find each other. And my gosh, Emily, you have built that here.
Well, you all, that's the thing. I always tell you guys every single day, like, it's you guys. It's a collaborative. It's the teachers, but it's also the students and the members, like the energy. And I can't tell you how many times people say that, like, wow, like, the community is real here, and there's no drama. It's not cliquey.
Everybody's invited.
Yes. Everybody's invited and like loved. And I saw this, I was probably on one form of social media, but it was like showing, something about like, does a teacher really think about me? And it's like the teacher's brain, it's like, I wonder if so-and-so got back from their trip. I hope their kid's okay. Like, all day you're thinking about the different community members, or like, I think about you all like every day. You think about the instructors, like, oh, I hope they're feeling better. I hope they did really well in that meeting. And that's just, it's genuine and it's authentic. And that's something that we've been talking a lot about too, is like authenticity, and just be yourself. Like, you don't have to, and I feel like sometimes in the corporate world, not that it wasn't me, but I feel like you do have to kind of present your, certain parts of yourself you may not always expose, because the situation, and that's fine. Like, the situation may not be right, or just the leadership style doesn't really open up to it. And that's where I got really excited about even the marketing piece of having your own business, like I don't have to speak in a corporate tone. It can be conversational. It's authentic. It's us. And basically us talking right now could turn into content that we use to basically share like what we do here, because that's just who we are. And we don't have to follow this brand guideline that's like super corporate, zipped up suit or tie kind of thing.
And that's what I love about your marketing experience coming in, just the variety of ways of reaching out. And I don't know how anybody can follow your pages and not feel that energy of, man, I'm going to go check that place out. And I feel like that's why people, they either see it or hear about it.
Yeah.
They come and they're like, yeah.
I feel very grateful, because as circling back though to making the decision, like as you can imagine, because you and your wife both work, like what a risk that is to like be like, okay, see you later, other income. Because, and then with that too, we've had to be thoughtful about the marketing budget here. So I haven't invested a lot in paid advertising. So a lot of our
word of mouth
is word of mouth. And it's like via like, oh, I love that instructor, you need to come see them. Or, oh my gosh, this space is really beautiful and I feel comfort. So we've been really grateful for
But
that.
it's the best way to build.
It is.
Right?
And it's authentic and
because
it's real.
you went in to build a coherent nucleus of connection and community, and it should spread that way.
That is true. That's really true. Yeah. That's the whole purpose of why we're doing what we're doing in anyways. Yeah.
So it's very exciting.
Yes.
So what's the next 10 years hold? What's your crystal ball show you?
Yes. Well, there's a lot of things I want to do. Reformer was one that I had to wait on. So I wanted to do that from like almost day one. My cousins with the coffee shop, they're like, you need reformers. I'm like, I know, we really do. But Ben was like, hold on, like budget wise, whatever. So we got to make that happen. I also want to, and you all are aware of this, like I want to do more in the online space. And that doesn't necessarily mean like just like a class or two that are virtual. It's like programs, more transformational things that supplement some of the retreats we're doing, small groups, more of like a coaching environment, and like having that community be accessible in your busiest days. So like you can't get to the studio, or you're traveling for business, or you're traveling for vacation, but you still want to be connected to the community. So there's more to come on that. Time has just been one of the biggest things. More retreats. I want that was so life-changing.
Even some local ones maybe.
And
right?
local retreats. Actually, Izzy and family, they recommended some places that are drivable. They have a family friend. So that way people that maybe don't want to or can't travel.
Can't, like just take a whole.
Because their kids or work or whatever it may be. So we want to make that more accessible. We've talked about doing like a weekend or a day retreat here in this space. So you can still get the benefits without having to travel for that. But I do want to do more of that, because the feedback we've gotten was just amazing, like just life-changing, transformative. I didn't know I was coming for this reason. There was just so much beyond the yoga practice, like the physical practice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I find myself often, if someone invites me to something, my first process is, because I feel like you'll get something positive out of anything that you do. So I start to think, and I just let intuition guide me. Just like when you're going around assisting, your intuition just tells you
100%.
This person's lower back, I'm drawn to her lower back.
Yeah.
Right?
And we have people that walk out and say like, did you come to my back, or did you go to my feet for a reason? Or did you, let me tell you, I mean, it's so cool. And we're like, you just go, like, you don't know. And like you said, your intuition guides you. It's really powerful.
And when you open that channel, which again, why yoga is a practice, I feel like those intuitions start out as patterns, but pretty soon you start listening to them. And so there's times I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to that. And I don't know why, but I know I need to. And I do. And it always leads. It proves why I went every time. Had that actually very recently in a sound bath designed for men.
Okay, cool.
Particularly technical engineers.
Oh, cool.
People who are trained in determinist, certainty. You design out any ambiguity. That's the way I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
I'm trained that way. But the belief is everybody has an inner desire for consciousness and coherence and connection, which is embodied in ambiguity.
Yeah.
Which is, you keep all options open. And so it was really a way to help those types of minds relax.
That's cool.
And it was really fun. So the snow that we had recently, pushed it, but a few of us got together and I'm like, I'm going. And man, I learned some really valuable things in the discussion afterward.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And I worked with a lot of engineers, and I've actually had some old colleagues reach out to have me come bring some of what we do. So when you talk about like the future and stuff too, definitely see more with like corporate and traveling maybe or speaking on different things. And I could see you being part of that as well, just from experience. And that sounds super powerful, especially like knowing the gentleman, like similar gentleman that you're talking with or worked with that I worked with. And a lot of times we're also taught like not to have emotion, or you talked about like not being able to be an empath or not showing those sides of you, even if you are in the corporate world. So I think there's a lot to unpack and a lot of opportunity. It has to be thoughtful, right? But I do believe that there's a lot of opportunity there.
You know, I was going to ask you this before, coming from the corporate world, and I know you're going to agree with this to some degree, but it's like, how do you do it? Is it only takes one leader in a business to realize how important his team's chemistry would be if this were the excursion that he took them to, that he brought them to a place like this to synchronize nervous systems, to regulate breath, to lower the energy in a room, to dissolve all the things that are standing in our way. Bring them here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what everybody needs.
They do. And that's it was cool. Like at Cisco, they started to really to recognize, I feel like, 'cause I know a lot of times people might hear yoga and they think like, I don't always love to use the term, but like woo, or like, is it really? But we're seeing sciences backing it. And that's why I just
Overwhelmingly.
And
So it's
that's
often
why
prescribed.
I've been so passionate. And yes, now doctors are prescribing it, which you can also use your HSA, FSA
That's right.
at our studio, because it is so beneficial for your health. But that's why I just stayed so strong and true to my gut. Like, and there were even schools sometimes like, oh, you can't really call it yoga. You can call it something else. Or I'm like, well, but it is yoga. And, so I love to see after COVID, I'm so sad that COVID happened, but there was a huge shift, I feel like, since then in corporations, like before I left the corporate world, where they were starting to do more wellness programs, and they were starting to include things like yoga, or they evolved the way they were doing it compared to before. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
How much do you think people that, again, what makes you go to a yoga studio is generally not why you stay in it and make it a practice. It's realizing all the other embodiments of it. But how much do you think, because I feel like this is lacking, so I'm curious your thoughts. I feel like people that are getting to that point where they get it, but there's so much more they don't know they haven't tapped into yet, like the yamas and the yamas, the chakras, the 8 limbs in totality. Like there's that. I feel like these studios are kind of missing that educational opportunity.
Like right or wrong, or people's beliefs, you will see a lot of them being, probably to your point, more about the physical practice, and they don't go as deep. And some people really want to go deeper. And I think even for me, like I shared, I fell in love with the physical practice first. But to your point, it's what was happening. Even if they didn't, now my studio in Colorado did talk about the 8 limbs and the chakras. Not, I mean, it might be like touched on as a theme, or they wove it in, but this is where I want to do more workshops, and we've talked about this in like the 10 years too, but more workshops and trainings for the people that want to go deeper, but like, weave it into your purpose for your class, that highlight for the day, or if they're your intention. So like it could be the theme of your class. So you could weave it in throughout the class, but that way people that they're curious and they want to learn more start to get the exposure. But if people just aren't ready for it, or it's just not what they're ever going to want, then they can that way we can kind of serve both of those.
Because that's the key, right?
Yeah.
To service.
Yeah. Because we want to service everybody, but
as the community grows, servicing that community equally is, it's a fun challenge, right?
It is. But I do think, like me personally, over the years, I've become more and more passionate about like the history of yoga, why, and also how it translates in the everyday lives too, of just outside of that physical practice like we talk about.
I didn't want to have you as my first guest. I wanted to get a few under my belt, but I knew this was the right time, because for me, the patterns are so clear. of coherence and community and where we're at as a community, as a broader community, I feel like this is the right conversation to have today. So thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
So much.
This was
a
so
pleasure.
fun.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Are we good? We can talk forever.
Just keep it going. Keep
You
the
too.
magic.
Keep the magic and
Happy
come
to be
check
part
us
of it.
out if you haven't.
If you're ever in town and you're traveling to the Cincinnati, Ohio area, we're in a little area called, I guess is this Loveland?
Well, technically, like this is Harper's Point, but it's like Loveland, Montgomery, Mason are all like
It's all northeast corner of Cincinnati. You got to come check it out.
And then
look up the Happily Ever Yoga app or website.
Yeah, happilyeveryoga.com, and then Instagram is happilyever_yoga. Yeah,
you won't be disappointed.
Thanks for the time today.
I end every show with my motto: bond soft and build strong. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Roots to Fruits. If this conversation resonated with you, follow and share it with someone else who's trying to build something meaningful in the world. Healthy systems, strong communities, and lasting change all start at the roots. For more insights breakdown, visit my website at kellywilliams.me, where you will discover resources you can read, watch, or listen to that will help you in your own resonance journey. Until next time, bond soft, build strong.